Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, especially to those who are joining us online. And welcome to the disaster mitigation session at APAN58. So just a quick opening statement. So we gather here today with a shared responsibility to explore ways in which we can harness the power of technology, innovation, and collaboration to better prepare for, respond to, and recover from the increasingly complex disasters that threaten our communities. The Asia-Pacific region is no stranger to natural disasters. Typhoons, earthquakes, tsunamis, floods, and wildfires are a persistent reality. In recent years, the intensity and frequency of these events have only increased. So, as I mentioned, in recent years, the intensity and frequency of these events have only increased. So a stark reminder of the challenges posed by climate change, rapid urbanization, and geopolitical complexities. However, as we confront these daunting challenges, we are also presented with opportunities. Advances in data science, AI, telecommunications, and cloud computing, among others, are transforming how we approach disaster risk reduction. Now, through international collaboration, cross-sector partnerships, and the sharing of best practices, we can better equip our communities to anticipate, withstand, and recover from disasters. Now, in this morning session, we will explore the latest innovations and strategies in disaster mitigation, from cutting-edge early warning systems and resilient infrastructure to community-driven initiatives and sustainable recovery models. Our speakers will share their expertise and experiences, and we encourage a robust exchange of ideas that will contribute to more effective disaster management in our region. Special gratitude to our online speakers from Manila, Philippines, where work is actually suspended currently, but they are joining us here today. As we begin, let us remember that disaster mitigation is not just about technological solutions. It is about ensuring that the most vulnerable among us are protected, the communities are empowered, and that we work together to build a safer, more resilient future. Now, I invite you all to engage fully in today's discussions, to share your insights, and to collaborate on solutions that can make a difference. Together, we have the knowledge and the tools to mitigate the impact of disasters, but it is only through our collective action that we can truly make a lasting impact. Thank you, and I look forward to a productive and inspiring session for the next 3 hours. So we will have six speakers from for this morning, with a quick break in between. So all in all, the session will last for about 3 hours. Now, aside from me as the chair of the DMWG group, we also have the co-chair, Dr. Virachai Tanpipat. Would you like to say some few words, please?
Thank you. Good morning. Familiar faces. It's good, but not many. But still, we have participants online. So like Dr. Fran says, we have the advanced technology more and more now, but it's not that simple. Okay, I'm in the line of a disaster. So it's not that simple to really, we cannot prevent it to happen because it's already happened with the climate change. This is my own belief, that we already passed the tipping point. So we can do now is a resilient adaptation. That's what my belief. So when I work now, we go to the community more than just national level, because if it will affect the community, so they have to be more resilient. You have to give them knowledge, whatever with the technology. Like now, the Japanese delegate, worry about the typhoon that's approaching. I don't know, now it's category 4, maybe, approaching already in Japan, but we don't know that what damage it's gonna cause, but we cannot stop it. You see, we have to collect our knowledge together and try to be resilient. They want to be like adaptation, but I think like resilient. We have been survived our like Homo sapien for a million years, so if we work together, we could, I think. So this is like one of the sessions that we try to combine with whatever knowledge we could gather, and then make it more resilient. Like I said, yeah, please, thank you very much. And then I hope you have a more opinion discussion in the Pakistan. What happened here? What do you need? What can we collaborate? And then we have that's what we trying to do here at APAN. Thank you and welcome both on online participant as well. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, Dr. Chai. So, our next speaker is our good friend and former chair of the Disaster Mitigation Working Group. So, may I call on Dr. Eric Yen from Academia Sinica Grid Computing Center. Dr. Eric, please.
Thank you, friends. Let me share my slides. Can you see my slides in presentation mode?
Yes, Dr. Eric.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Firstly, let me thank friends and Chai organizing the this working group meeting. I'm so sorry for not being able to join you in person in Pakistan. As usual, let me summarize the update of the regional collaboration. As you know, that sustainability of the earth and also the humanities are the long-term goals of this working group and the regional collaboration from the beginning, more than 10 years ago. For now, the human-induced climate change, as mentioned by friends and Chai, including more frequent and intense extreme events, has caused the widespread adverse impacts and also related losses and damages to the whole planet beyond the natural climate variability. Most of the impacts are caused by the human contribution and led to some irreversible impacts as nature and human systems are pushed beyond their ability to adapt. How worse is it? When it comes to tackling such climate change to prevent the impacts, because it's in the different system of the planet, people apply two types of measures, mitigation and adaptation. Mitigation attends to the cause of the climate change, while adaptation addresses its impacts. In APAN, the Disaster Mitigation Working Group is not providing solution to issues in partner country. However, we are building the capacity and also the collaboration platform to facilitate a deeper understanding to the problems and also facilitate the development of the core technology for future solutions. So the keywords is collaboration. Recently, the United Nations also reminded us the level of the sea globally is rising faster and higher than ever before, and creating urgent and escalating threat to people around the world, not just in the those island countries in the Pacific or just a small regions of humans. The situation, focus, and priority of the climate change differ from country to country. For example, in Taiwan, the winter might disappear by 2060, according to the study and simulation, due to the climate change. What's worse are that the rice yield, the productivity of the rice, will reduce about 18%. In next 30 years, the land area might be submerged, will be about 4% in the south. So that's the emergent threats to Taiwan. So each country has his own issues. So the climate resilient development is very essential, as we all believe that the adaptation measures and their enabling conditions with mitigation to advance the sustainable development for all is very important. Yeah, that's also what I like to suggest that becomes to be the primary focus of this working group. So from these slides, you can see the at the top right, that's the comparison of the sea level rising in the Arctic region in red, and also the global average in blue. In the lower left, it reminds us from the recent Asia Development Bank publication that the Asia and Pacific require urgent attention for the sustainable development goals, according to the milestone checked in 2023, and also the target to be achieved in 2030. So about the capacity building for sustainability. So in the about past 5 to 8 years, we've been working together on several case studies. That's the practical approach we adapted for these purposes. So we integrate the numerical simulation, deeper understanding of the science behind the headers, the observation data, tools, and also analytics together. So knowledge is the foundation from this approach. So we could have better understanding to the Earth system. So from the simulation, we can estimate quantitatively about the hazard risks. And persistent monitoring is very essential because it's a changing world. And if there's any adaptation measures, we would like to understand the effectiveness, for example. And from the experiences, we learned that case study is the effective approach to build up knowledge and also the best practices to engage the required community. So in the end, we hope that every partner could have the capability to conduct their own case study according to their local needs. And then from those case studies, we can share the data, tools, knowledge, issues, and also everything you learned, you get from the case study, so that other countries could improve their capacity for the future events. On the other hand, the working group also conducted many masterclass. For example, in last January in Thailand, Chai has been hosted a 3-day masterclass in Bangkok, which gathered not just the many members from the academics, but also from the practitioner, and also from different, for example, the space agencies in different countries. We also have masterclass in New Zealand in 2018, and also in China in 2017. The first masterclass is started from APAN57 in Indonesia, in Bandung. In 2014, also supported by UNESCO and many experts. We also joined several international projects, for example, the Disaster Mitigation Competence Center, which is part of the EGI-led project funded by the European Foundation. We are serving as part of the regional projects on e-science. In Asia, the most important e-science application will be disaster mitigation. So this collaboration has been lasted for about 5 years. And later we have the UND, the deeper understanding to the natural disaster, and also the crater project funded by Asia Connect, which keeps the momentum of the collaboration for the regional collaborations. Of course, about 20 case studies has been carried out based on different hazard types, leading by scientists in that areas. And we welcome partners to bring their own projects, bring their own case study, bring their requirements and also issues. So together we help the partner to engage the local user communities for the case study. And we can organize the scientist group from all the partner countries to work together for the case study. And about the sharing, now in APAN, we have the open and sharing data working group. We can support the systematic the format, the paradigm of the sharing in the future, leading by Chai. And also, we leverage and enhance the required infrastructure in partner country. For example, in Taiwan, we've been supported the cloud computing resources and also the services for several case studies. And in the future, we hope that more partner countries could also join the distributed research infrastructure for the case studies in this region. Of course, we should also disseminate and outreach to other different society or communities to raise the awareness to promote the values of our work and also for broader collaborations in the future. And the regional collaboration keeps broadening the scopes of the collaboration. From about 2 years ago, I remember that's the first meeting in Nepal last year. After the COVID, partners agreed and also contribute to the new topics, such as the health-related risk mitigation and also making use of the remote sensing resources. I remember the health-related case study was suggested by a scientist, by a participant from Pakistan, which is very important for the development of this regional collaboration. And Professor Sato from Tohoku Medical and Pharmaceutical University in the Division of Emergency and Disaster Medicine has shared his projects and experiences in Japan in the past disaster mitigation working group meeting. About the remote sensing resource, it's great to have several space agencies in Asia meet up together in Bangkok at last APAN, coordinated by Chai, including the space agency from Philippines, from Thailand, from Japan, and also from Taiwan, etc. So together with universities such as AFOCO and also forest fire communities, etc. In Taiwan, the TASA, the space agency here, has been conducted multi-spectrum data analysis for environmental monitoring and disaster analysis in many countries by making use of the Open Data Cube system as presented in this slide. The Open Data Cube system supports the spatial temporal integrated data management and analysis framework and intends to lower the barriers of using Earth observation data. The Open Data Cube combination of the high performance computing and also high performance data infrastructure could support the enhance the value in the Earth observation data from resources around the world. It also allows the creation of thematic maps by combining different layers, save and share those outcomes in a standard, for example, the RDF paradigm. So it's much easier to analyze the tons of spatial data and also together with those attribute data in different sources. The Open Data Cube has been served at the heart of Digital Earth projects in many countries, such as Australia, Brazil, and also Colombia, Switzerland, etc. From more and more case studies, again, the capacity is evolving to be able to provide the decision-ready data beyond the analysis-ready data, and also to gain actionable insights from every useful heterogeneous data sources supported by physics-informed knowledge for the sustainable development goal. That's one of the a recent update around in Taiwan and in different countries about making use of the Earth observation data more effectively for the decision support in different sustainable development goal tasks. On the other hand, making use of the advanced technology to cope with fast changing situations and also to achieve the sustainable development goal effectively is always a practical strategy. And recently in Taiwan and also in many countries, we have a chance to think how to integrate these drivers and also resources together. Again, the aforementioned strategy fits again by the use case oriented approach, which is feasible to combine those communities together to leverage the trends of the quantum computing technology and also AI for sustainable development goals. The fundamental basis are, for example, to accelerating applications for the sustainable development goals, access for all, advancing capacity building, and also to activating multilateral governance for the sustainable development goal. Yeah. So the objective is that collaboratively we can achieve more together. So this working group is a collaborations for these objectives, so that to making use of the knowledge of hazard physics, numerical simulation, infrastructure, and also intelligence for the common goals, and to support the identification of the best practice, and also to reduce the risk systematically. So you are not alone. In this collaboration platform, we welcome every partner to bring your issue and to bring your case study so that we can work together. So that's the, so turns out every partner could have, could develop their own capacity for their local needs. And together we can support more partners to be able to conduct case studies by incorporating a required component, for example, the user community, human resource, the data resource, computing resource, etc. So in this region, the capacity is growing through those case studies. And we hope that this collaboration could also facilitate the achievement of sustainable development goal in this region. On the other hand, the IAGC, the International Symposium Grid and Cloud, held by IAGC, by my center, has been more than 20 years. What's related to this working group is that we, together with the Supercomputing Center in Munich, in Leibniz, we conducted the environmental computing workshop in IGC for more than 5 years. So we hope that the discussion for the collaboration for this working group, for the regional collaboration, could be continued, not just in APAN meeting, but also in IGC. So in this working group, we hope that in the future meeting, we can have more case study sharing, more machine learning enabled case study could be shared so that we can learn how to get actionable insight efficiently from the data, from the new technologies. We also could investigate the advanced topics for future masterclass. And also, of course, we hope to have more interaction, discussion, and sharing on the requirements, data, everything. So my last slide is about the IGC in next year, in the week of March 17, 2025 in Taipei. As I mentioned, the environmental computing workshop will be held as usual. Yeah. More details will be disseminated very soon. So that's my update to the regional collaboration. Thank you so much.
All right, Dr. Eric, thank you very much for your updates. So as Dr. Eric has mentioned, this group is really about collaboration, meaning that it's not really the aim to develop a particular technology and have it adopted in a particular country. That will not work because there's not one technology that will solve all our problems. It's more about capacity building, so building our own solutions which are relevant to our own particular cases and locality. So at this point, may I ask if there are questions, clarifications, comments, suggestions from the hall? I can see two hands. Let me start with Chai and then from, all right, let me start with the lady. Ladies first, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Arik, for very valuable insights. My subject is economics. Might be different than yours, but there is one thing that in the previous 2 years, one of the student has completed the doctorate on the same very topic of the natural disasters in the South Asian countries, and we have taken the data from mostly the panel data from the various countries related to the natural disasters and how it's going to affect the socio-economic status of the and the economic growth, like this, the socio-economic factors. And the one thing that we added there, that was the resilience, that how the indigenous capacity of the people related to their education, their health facilities, their social capital, their institutions, that can provide them the facility just after, if there is any type of the disaster, how they are going to come up after that. Because it is not possible that the government can do any and everything. So it is very interesting that you have shared with us that there are definitely, there will be various things related to this, that one solution for one area cannot be fit for any other area. But here, my one aspect that I want to understand, or you can say the question, there can be certain those strategies that can be used for those. Because we are saying that they cannot be, but I think that might be certain strategies are there that can be used for every situation, like this early warning system or the data for the communication. If we are going to have increase the capacity of the people, that they should be aware enough that they can check the weather daily morning, that either rainfall is coming or either there is any breakthrough related to earthquake. Because in Pakistan, in the last 5 years, we have faced a very huge disasters. On the one hand, there was the flood and sometimes coupled with the earthquake. And this flood is not coming on only on the one place, because we are having high areas, high altitude, and then again the plain. So a combination that start from the Hunza, the Gilgit, and like this, after glacier melting, it reaches to all the plain lands of the Punjab and there. And that is our own food basket. So this further then affects our food production. So I just want that how you can enlist that, what the strategies we can have at the smaller level, not at the government level, that the people or the communities, they can build for themselves. And we can mean the small storage I have witnessed that the people they are having. So like this, or the vaccine kit, or the sometime this. If in your country you have witnessed, then how we can replicate in our country and likewise in other developing countries. Thanks so much. And your offer for collaboration, I like that much. I will contact with you surely, and I will share my all the publications with you that are particularly related to natural disaster and the resilience. Thank you. Dr. Sofian from GC University of Faisalabad.
Thank you so much. Yeah, totally agree with you that there's no single solution fits to all. As I mentioned, that's why the capacity building for the partners is important. According to the lessons we learned in the past few years. So the first step is to identify the goal objectives of the case study, and then we can have the domain experts coming in, and also to identify the goals and also the steps, the milestones, and also what kind of data are required. That's the general approach we learned from the case studies we have. Yeah. Thank you so much for your comments.
Yeah.
I have similar question, the last question that the professor has. You're talking about the collaboration, the case study, but we need to get funding, right? Not directly. We have to
Yes.
get together and then get the proposal and find the source, and then, source of funding, and we propose that. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the about the funding, the first objective is again capacity building. As you know, that in the past few years, with the funding from Asia Connect, we conducted the training workshops in different countries, and then so that we can meet the user community, different communities in different countries, and then find out the opportunities for collaborations. So that's the primary purposes for the funding. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so we
Thank
still
you.
have a bit some time. So let me also add to the discussion earlier. So it was asked, what are the possible strategies that can be shared or can be adopted by communities? So let me share one experience that we have in the Philippines. Of course, the Philippines being like a veteran in terms of receiving typhoons, earthquakes, etc. An important factor in disaster mitigation, of course, as the term implies, disaster mitigation, we want to minimize the risks as much as possible. Zero lives lost whenever there's some bad things that can happen. Eric mentioned that we as researchers, scientists, we can only provide actionable information. So that means that actionable data or information will be there. It can be available. The other side of the equation is what can the local community do with that information? That depends on the agility and the strategy of that particular community. If a particular community receives the information and you will get this amount of rain, whatever, there are two choices. Either you do nothing, you just let things happen since you're resilient, or you can develop your community-based solution. That's what we have been observing in the past few years, that each community should have their own strategy. It should be the community that should make their own solution. They should own the strategy and the solution. So we can share the technologies, make the actionable information, but it should eventually come down to the community themselves. Thank
To
you.
add on that, I'm from the Hydroinformatic Institute. We have the community-based water management, and then we try to, well, I heard yesterday, which is good, it's an appropriate technology that we can transfer to the village people, and they have their own. They have different cases. Now we have almost 2,000 villages, communities that are working with us, but it's depend on their need too. And the most important thing, they have to buy in your concept, which means they have to work on their own too. We're not going to give them money. We will do when they're willing to do their work, what they need. They have to know their environment. They have to learn how to use the map to understand. They have to learn how to use the satellite, the GPS, or the blah, blah, blah. But they have to participate at the beginning because that's the concept of well, King Rama IX, our king, the belated king, that the community, if they would like to participate, they have to also work on it. We're not going to give it to them because what we have seen, if you just give it to them, when the money dry out, go back to the same thing.
Participatory approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, sharing and participatory. I just want to ask one thing more, that what is in your scenario that you have witnessed, the role of the power groups, the institutions? Because in the developing countries, what we are going to see that sometimes the power group, the institution, the government, they are moving on some other issues. They just want that let it happen certain disaster because they will gain the sympathy of the people when they will take. So what is the case in your country?
Well, for us, the country also the similar thing what they do, but for us, we have to do well, we have to force them to do the funding for their own village, their own community. So whatever they produce, they will have a small bank, not the big bank, just for their own. So something happen, they can use that money right away. Don't have to wait for the central government. But they have, like I said, if they can, and then we have to develop the income, whatever they have. We have to improve that and find a market for them, so they can have extra money and they can put that into their bank. And if anything happen, they can just withdraw. Don't have to wait for the central government. But take long time, nah? One thing, not just simple like that. Some place 10 years, some place 5 years, but never happen like right away. Never seen one.
Just in my university, 2 weeks before, I discussed with the professor of this electrical engineering that I witnessed one gadget in different videos that in the floody areas, the people was on the bank and the one person he was just drowning inside. And it was very difficult for to catch up those. And now they have this remotely controlled pedestal and something with the lifeboat. So I asked him that why we cannot create this, because mostly whenever we are facing this type of the issues, people, they are just on the banks, they can see but they cannot help that person. So just like that, because even the person who is coming for the help, he will not be able to put himself even in the danger, and like this. And this is not that much rocket science, simple through like a toy like, and with the lifeboat and this paddle, and it was quite easy. And this gadget, and then he said, yes, we shall try this time, because Menka, if the flood is coming, at least you should create, and then there can be any market that can multiply this. So sometimes the small gadgets or the small tools, they can bring the wonder in the rescue or sometime of.
All right. So let's pause on that idea first, and then let's continue for the next presenter. Great discussion so far. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Eric. So now we proceed with Engineer Noel Borlongan from the Philippine Space Agency. Engineer Noel.
Hello, good morning, everyone. So I am Engineer Noel Borlongan from the Philippines. I am part also of the Philippine Space Agency, and I will present to you an amazing thing that is happening in the Philippines, as well as our initiatives for disaster mitigation. So let me share my slides. Can somebody confirm if my slides are visible? Currently sharing right now. So is it still
Probably this
visible?
is the start of your slide deck. Yeah. Okay. It's similar to the
All right.
the
Oh,
one you see on the screen.
all right. I'll proceed.
All right. Good.
All right. So, good morning once again. So, I'm Engineer Noel Barlangan, and my presentation is entitled Updates on National Copernicus Capacity Support Action Program for the Philippines, or simply COFIL, and other related initiatives. And my subtitle will be Strengthening the Philippines' Local Space Value Chain in Support of Disaster Risk Reduction and Management. So, my outline will be this. First, I will briefly discuss the Philippine Space Agency, or PhilSA, and the space value chain. Next, I will be discussing the National Copernicus Capacity Support Action Program for the Philippines. And lastly, I will present the Philippine Space Value Chain for disaster risk reduction and management. So as a background, the Philippine Space Agency was brought to birth by the Republic Act number 11363, or the Philippine Space Act, which is signed into law last August 8, 2019, establishing the Philippine space policy and the agency. So it is the central government agency in the Philippines addressing all national issues and activities in space science and technology applications. It is an attached agency of the Office of the President for purposes of policy and program coordination and to ensure alignment in national policies and priorities. So um, uh, the Philippine space policy focuses on 6 key development areas. So our activities and programs in the Philippine Space Agency are centered in this development area. So there are 6, and one of them is in hazard management and climate studies. The mission of the Philippine Space Agency is value creation. It is in the core of our mission. So we will promote and sustain a robust Philippine space ecosystem that adds and creates value in space for and from Filipinos and for the world. So the space value chain is the framework that we use in our policies and in our activities. Basically, these are a series of components and also their connections, which when properly working together, then the end result will be social economic value and benefit realized. So the Philippines right now is a beginner in terms of space launching and launching satellites into space. So right now, the space agency is currently 5 years of age, and we have successfully launched a number of small satellites and micro satellites. But we also have some ground infrastructure to be able to receive instructions and data sets from the satellites. So from those ground infrastructure, the data that we will get from them, we also have the capacity to analyze and generate them, and we have the impetus and resources to act. And then hopefully, the Filipinos will be able to get value out of the satellite data that we get from our infrastructure in space. Now, I will introduce the National Copernicus Capacity Support Action Program for the Philippines. So, in the words of the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, we are currently setting up a so-called Copernicus data mirror site within the Philippine Space Agency. And we have just signed an agreement to boost the flow on Earth observation data between us. So this is very important for early warning, for example, for extreme weather phenomenon, and to improve the climate resilience. This is a first in space cooperation in Asia. Essentially, the Philippines will become a national Copernicus data mirror site. And because of that, the Philippines might become a center for a data center for Copernicus data within the region. So this will be available not only in the Philippines, but for nearby countries as well. So this will enhance the speed of getting data or Copernicus data from the European Commission, and so we will be able to generate insights and other applications from the satellite data when that is finally established. So this is a 3-year project, but right now we are still procuring the infrastructure and the servers for this. So the main objective of the COFIL initiative is to facilitate the uptake of Copernicus data in the Philippines with an initial thematic focus on 3 Earth observation pilot services and to set up a Copernicus mirror site in the Philippines. The objectives of COFIL is first to secure the integrity of the natural ecosystem as well as livelihoods deriving from it and the population against natural hazards and climate change related threats. And second is to strengthen the use of information derived from Copernicus Earth observation data and information for decision making and monitoring of policy implementation is provided timely and accurately. So this will have 3 outputs. First is the awareness about benefits and limitations of Earth observation. Derived information is continuously improved. Second is Sentinel data will be readily accessible for all users in the Philippines and the surrounding countries. So part of this output is to be able to establish a national Copernicus mirror site. The third output is to demonstrate the operational uptake of Copernicus data and information. So in order to achieve this, so initially we will have to implement 3 pilot services, and these services include ground motion monitoring, land cover mapping, crop mapping, and forest mapping service, and lastly, the benthic habitat monitoring service. So for the land cover, crop mapping, and forest services, these are the products that will be available for the service. The goal is to have these products in an annual basis. So if you're familiar with our country or in some of our data sets, so some of these data sets currently are not readily available, or some data sets are generated in a more lengthy time frame. So with the introduction of the COFIL program, we will be able to acquire these data sets in a more frequent manner. So along these data products are the land cover maps, land cover change map. So this can be useful for tracking changes from agricultural to urban surfaces. Tree cover density, forest area type, near real-time forest disturbance monitoring, which can be useful for tracking changes in the forest due to forest fires or maybe deforestation activities. Then we will also have an annual cropland extend and seasonal crop type maps. So this is a flow chart, or this is how the COFIL program looks like. The program partners for this is the Department of Science and Technology, the European Space Agency, the Philippine Space Agency, and the European Commission. So these 4 partners work together in order to deliver the different services and products for the program. For the component level, so there will be the COFIL infrastructure necessary for the Copernicus mirror site, then the pilot services, which I discussed previously. And then aside from these 2 outputs, the COFIL program will also conduct general capacity buildings and general awareness for Earth observation products. So for the knowledge transfer level, we will have technical trainings for people who knows how to use satellite images already. And then we will also have capacity buildings and awareness activities for other people who are not yet familiar with satellite processing, such as the local government units and maybe other state universities and colleges as well, and even the general public. And hopefully all these products will deliver value for all our users. Next is the Philippine Space Value Chain for Disaster Risk and Reduction and Management. So the Philippine Space Agency utilizes all the satellite data that we can use. So this ranges from open satellite data to commercial ones, and even sovereign and disaster charter data sets. So in the past year, we are able to generate around 30,828 maps for various applications. We have conducted 14 capacity building engagements benefiting at least 829 individuals and 120, which roughly equates to 120,872 total person hours of training. So here you can see on the slide some of the products that we are able to generate from satellite images, like port monitoring, the oil spill in the top right, farm to market road monitoring in the lower left, and mangrove extent mapping in the lower right. So the Philippine Space Agency is also a member of Sentinel Asia. In January 2023, the Philippine Space Agency was accepted as a data provider node member of the Sentinel Asia. This means that the Philippines can technically provide satellite data through our sovereign satellites like the Diwata 2 and Novasar satellite in order to contribute data for other countries in the Asia Pacific region for disaster risk reduction and management purposes. So, along with being a data provider, we also activate the Sentinel Asia for different scenarios or disaster events, like, for example, the oil spill in Oriental Mindoro in the Philippines, and also for some typhoon events in the Philippines. We also activated Sentinel Asia last June 2024 when an oil spill also happened in Manila Bay. Aside from Sentinel Asia, so the Philippines also utilizes the International Charter Space and Major Disaster for additional data requests. So this is a global initiative by some of the international space agencies and companies, providing also data for countries who needs data for their disaster needs. So for this year's events in the Philippines, we are able to activate the Charter and Sentinel Asia for our oil spill events and some typhoon events as well. For example, here in the screen, you might see some of our maps which we are able to generate because of the data that we received from the International Charter and Sentinel Asia. So without these data sets, we might not be able to generate maps um, more frequently because the open data sets such as Sentinel and other commercial data sets we are not able to acquire them readily, unlike from the disaster charter, which are able to give us a data sets quickly. So these maps and other images, we provide them to the Coast Guard and some of our marine scientists so that they will be able to predict the oil spill and also help in the cleanup operations. So aside from oil spill, we also do flood impact mapping. So these images show the flooding in Maguindanao area last October 2022. So this is a visual analysis or comparison of the satellite images. We also generate maps such as this from SAR images. So we generate the flood impact maps, meaning we generate the actual flooding from from a typhoon event as seen by satellite images. So we generate these types of maps and we distribute them to different agencies through emails, and we also post them in our social media pages so that people might be aware of the actual situation on the ground. We also do some flooding on agricultural areas. So we overlay our flood layers with agricultural masks so that the Department of Agriculture might be able to estimate the damages done on agricultural areas. For damage mapping, we also estimate damages using Sentinel-1 SAR data by stacking different coherent images using SLC IW burst with short baselines. So aside from that, we also have rapid mapping and assessment of damages due to typhoons using Sentinel-1 SAR data, using coherence and other indices as well that we derive from Sentinel-1. So, an example of an index is the normalized difference spatial autocorrelation index, which can be used for damage mapping during typhoons. We also have a research on building detection using very high resolution imagery, using worldview. So the purpose of this is so that we can map out different buildings and infrastructure during disaster events, and this also can be used for as an exposure data, so that we can able to um, estimate or assess the exposure of people before a disaster strikes. We also have products for drought. So as shown in the screen are the different maps that we are generating whenever there is a drought season. So for example, this earlier in this year, where the heat index is very high in the Philippines, we generated drought maps, and then some of these maps we distribute them to the Department of Social Welfare and Development, which then they use for their assessment and support for farmers. We also have a mapping and assessment of slash and burn farming using various fire and burnt area products. So here we can see the some some of the pixel counts of various fire and burnt area products in the province of Palawan, where we can see the number of occurrence in each municipality in Palawan, which can be used by the LGUs for their monitoring of their forest areas. So these products that we generate, we distribute them to different national government agencies, so that we will be able to generate value from the satellite data products. So the products does not stay in the agency. As much as possible, we push them out to the end users, so that they will be able to benefit from those space products. And some of these examples are these examples where satellite images were able to use for different applications, such as in mining, where satellite images were used to were lead to mining bust in Misamis Oriental. And also we have generated disaster maps used by the Office of Civil Defense for conducting their rescue and relief operations. So there's a challenge to realize the value chain. So we have the satellites, and we have the space data that we get from them. However, the challenge remains that we must be able to use them to convert to an economic value. So here's a scenario. PhilSat provides satellite images and other geospatial data and information to LGUs. However, some LGUs are able to maximize the use of this data and information for decision making, policy formulation, and implementation of actions. But several and many LGUs cannot utilize partly or fully what was provided due to a number of reasons. So some of these reasons can be one of this: the capacity in terms of human, scientific, technological, organizational, and institutional resources, the access to high-resolution data, the expertise for the operational applications of these technical tools, data sharing, and appropriate policies. That's why we also have this initiative, the Fields Integrated Network for Space-Enabled Actions Towards Sustainability, where we envision an active network of institutions and people working together towards sustainability using space data information. So through this project, we go to different municipalities, provinces, and regions of the Philippines, spreading awareness for space data, so that uh, they might recognize the value that we can obtain from satellite data, and that also we can help them solve their issues in their locality using geospatial data. So here is a video of the next satellite that we are developing in the Philippines.
Engineer Noel, there's no audio. I'm not sure if you have clicked share audio as well earlier.
Oh,
As small
Yes.
as a soup. Yet the stakes were high and the challenges were great. After the success with 6 of these small satellites, the Philippines is ready for something bigger. In December 2020, the Philippines kicked off the Multispectral Unit for Land Assessment, or MULA satellite project. Weighing around 130 kilograms, MULA will carry a true color camera that can capture higher resolution images, covering around 73,000 square kilometers of our country in one day. Data from MULA satellite will be used for addressing food security, disaster resilience, environment conservation, and protecting our national sovereignty. The Department of Science and Technology jump-started the funding of MULA. The project was jointly implemented by the DOST, Advanced Science and Technology Institute, and the University of the Philippines, Diliman, in coordination with the Philippine Space Agency, or PhilSA. 16 Filipino engineers who underwent a know-how training and transfer program in the UK are involved in building the satellite and are now part of PhilSA. The training capacitated our homegrown engineers, not just with knowledge, but the license to build more local commercial satellites in the future, leading the way for the creation of a robust and thriving space industry to support the country's space program. PhilSA will oversee the completion and launch of MULA and manage its operations. MULA in Ilocano means plant, pointing to the satellite's mission on food security. In Tagalog, it means point of origin or beginning, which symbolically signals the Philippines' foray into a new era in satellite development toward the vision of a nation bridged, uplifted, and empowered through the peaceful uses of outer space.
all right. So that will be the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.
All right. Thank you, Engineer Noel, for a very comprehensive update from the Philippine Space Agency. So let me open the floor if there are questions.
Just a quick question about the Copernicus, the program that you Miller. So, what the mechanism that they have to be download and then keep everything at ESA first and then transfer to the internet, or your ground receiving station will receive the data directly from the let's say Sentinel-1, Sentinel-2 and distribute it.
So right now, I don't have the specifics, but the European Commission will host servers within the Philippines, so that the Copernicus and Sentinel data will be directly sent to those servers, so
Okay.
that the Philippines can host those data for the country and for the nearby countries as well.
Let
So
me, yeah, let me add to that, Engineer Noel. Thank you for the update. Regarding your question, Chai, so aside from the COPFIL project itself, there's actually a second package from the EU. That's the digital connectivity package. So instead of using the GRS within the Philippines, they will directly transfer through the internet the data. That's why actually this community is important, because that data will pass through our community.
Well, yeah, the traffic will be a lot more because they also transfer to Australia. Same data. And that's why I'm asking, maybe the ground receiving station would make it faster. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
All right, thank you, Chai. Any other question from the floor?
But I think sometimes the original data in the original form might not be the useful for the customers or the people living. They require a customized based information that what is happening in next week or not. So that detail may be useful for the researchers to decide and something. So that can reduce the further data availability, or you can say the traffic. So the customized data.
That's very true. In fact, that's the challenge of having so much data. We want to make them actionable, actually useful for the stakeholder. Right, Noel? That's your challenge, right? Make your data really useful for your intended stakeholder.
Yeah, yeah, because we don't want this data to stay as data, but we want them to become information with context. So the previous speaker mentioned of an open data cube. So in the Philippines, we are also planning to have uh, a one like that, so that the data from the different satellites can be converted into an analysis ready data, and hopefully we can also turn that into a decision ready data, so that uh, when we have those data, we can immediately distribute them to the different government units, and then hopefully they will get something out of the data that we give to them.
All right. Thank you, Engineer Noel. So from using satellite information, let's proceed to building resilience, using technology to build resilience. We have Miss Faye Andal from the University of the Philippines Resiliency Institute. Miss Faye? Ah, Noel, please stop sharing. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Thank you, Doc Eric. And hi, everyone. So, good morning to you there in Pakistan, and it's afternoon here in Manila. So, I'm here to present with you about the NOAA website. So it's entitled Enhancing Disaster Resilience with Open Data, a spotlight on the NOAA platform, where I'll share how NOAA website is harnessing open data and innovative technologies to empower communities in disaster preparedness and response. Okay, so to start, we all know that flooding is a natural hazard with significant challenges and global implications. And it leads to massive economic losses, it disrupts livelihoods, and also severely threatens the public safety. And here in the Philippines, at least, our vulnerability to flooding is particularly pronounced as we experience a high frequency of typhoons between June until December, and these cyclones or storms can be further intensified by the southeast monsoon, or what we call the habagat. So this combined impact of typhoons and southwest monsoon makes flooding a recurrent and severe issue for our country. And this is where Project NOAA comes in. So it was established as a disaster risk reduction and management organization, and it stands for the nationwide operational assessment of hazards. So it was an initiative launched in 2012 to tackle the challenges of flooding and other meteorological hazards in the Philippines. And our primary mission was to provide critical support for disaster risk reduction and management, climate change adaptation, and mitigation efforts across the Philippines. It was initially developed and hosted by the Department of Science and Technology, or the DOST, and the project NOAA scope and impact expanded significantly after 2017, when it was adopted later on by the University of the Philippines under the UP Resilience Institute. So now our mission is still to provide timely, reliable and accessible information that can help mitigate the impacts of disasters. And NOAA's impact has been remarkable, quickly becoming a trusted resource among or for disaster preparedness and response across the Philippines. In fact, according to a UNDP study in 2022, NOAA is one of the or among the platforms heavily utilized by the local government units with 59.7% scored, tied with the Philippine Statistics Authority. So this provides or serves as a critical tool for the local government units in making informed decisions during disasters, underscoring the platform's value in saving lives. And in 2020, we revamped this tool to make NOAA more user-friendly, particularly for those without technical expertise or technical knowledge about maps. So one of NOAA's most widely used features is the Know Your Hazard feature, where users can access the exposure specific to their location with so much ease. So this specific feature allows users to get a direct assessment of the risks or their exposure without needing to navigate complex maps or very technical data. So it also offers tailored recommendations, specifically outlining the actions or actionable information and specific preparations that communities should take to mitigate the impacts of the potential hazards, which make it a critical resource for effective disaster readiness. And initially, hazard mapping was one of NOAA's primary outputs, allowing us to identify the potential dangers like the flood-prone areas or the landslide-prone and even the storm surge-prone areas. However, we recognize the need for a more comprehensive approach to disaster risk reduction and assessment. And to be able to achieve this, we introduced an exposure mapping, which goes beyond just identifying the hazards. And by integrating data from OpenStreetMap, we incorporated community-driven mapping efforts directly into our platform. So this enhancement improves the accuracy of our assessment and also provides a more detailed understanding of how different communities are exposed to various hazards. In 2017, we made a significant contribution by mapping 2.7 million building footprints across 15 provinces using in the Philippines using OpenStreetMap. So this extensive data set provides a detailed view of the built environment within this specific communities that could allow us to better understand how specific areas are exposed during times of crisis or disasters. And by having this precise information on building footprints, locations, and their proximity or exposure to hazard areas, we can then deliver more targeted and effective disaster response strategies. We also collaborate with Youth Mappers, a global network of young mappers who are also an invaluable resource in our efforts to enhance disaster risk reduction and management. So here, we empower students to actively contribute to disaster risk reduction so that we can also foster a new generation of skilled mappers and also expand our reach into the communities that need it the most. And we also leverage innovative technologies within OpenStreetMap, such as the AI-driven data from Microsoft, so that we can also add more information based on those satellite and AI models that can help us in identifying more building footprints and even road network across the Philippines. So this effort from youth mappers and also leveraging AI technologies can help us provide validated information related to exposure maps that are both reliable and comprehensive. And one of our latest innovations is the impact-based flood forecasting tool, which is currently in beta mode. So by beta, it refers to a test version that is nearly complete, but still undergoing final tweaks and calibration before its final release. So here, while we know that exposure mapping is significant in understanding disaster risks, we also recognize that there are still gaps in terms of preparedness. And to be able to address this, we introduced this platform to predict which specific neighborhoods or barangays are most likely to be affected by impending disasters brought by a large flood event. So this level of granularity could empower decision makers to take preemptive measures tailored to their communities, making the disaster response more precise and effective. And NOAA is a pioneer in this type of application, offering granular and barangay level predictions that go beyond the capabilities of those traditional forecasting models. So this level of details enables a more precise understanding of how specific communities will be impacted by large flood events, allowing for targeted interventions that can help save lives and reduce property damage. So by providing a localized actionable insights, NOAA empowers local government units, emergency responders, humanitarian organizations, or even individual households to prepare more effectively, ensuring the preparedness measures aligned with the actual risk faced by each community. So how do we achieve this this information in its forecasts? So first, our system relies on forecast rainfall models from international sources, which are also carefully calibrated to local weather conditions in the Philippines. This is through the help of Weather Manila, which is also a research organization based at the University of the Philippines. And this calibration in the model ensures that our prediction or forecast are tailored to our specific geographical and meteorological characteristics. And as a result, we can pinpoint which specific barangays, as showed in the table and on the map, are most likely to be affected by heavy rainfall and the large flooding, and calculate the number of people affected by it. And now let me share some of the lessons learned from the recent cyclone Karina, or Gaini, as its international name. So Karina was a powerful storm that intensified into a super typhoon on July 24, 2024, bringing widespread concern across the nation, specifically in Luzon or in Metro Manila. So if it affected 1.6 million families or 6 million people in 4,000 barangays here in the Philippines. So as you can see here, this is a satellite image that shows the scale of Typhoon Karina as it leaves the Philippines, and how southwest monsoon intensified the effects of Karina. So as the storm approaches the Philippines, NOAA platform became a critical resource for a lot of Filipinos seeking information related to the potential danger that this weather disturbances bring us. And just to share some of our experiences, as the storm intensified during Karina in July 24, we observed a significant spike in search requests on the NOAA platform. So this surge in search requests reflects the increased demand for reliable information during flooding or emergencies in general. So a search request occurs when users of our platform query a specific location in the website itself. So during Typhoon Karina, it seems that users were actively seeking or checking for their exposure on flooding and other hazards using the website, which demonstrated the role of NOAA in providing essential information during this period. And we reached 2.6 million search requests, but we did not experience any downtime on our website. So thanks to our resources from Mockbox and also from the UP Data Commons for helping us sustain the amount of users that we experienced during this period. So this peak also reflects a surge in the curiosity about the NOAA website, with many people discovering or revisiting the platform to check their exposure to hazards using the Know Your Hazards tool, as I've mentioned earlier. And I think several factors also contributed to this increased activity, such as first, the intensifying storm heightened concerns, and then the widespread media coverage also helped to heighten this amount of activity. And some users were now discovering that the platform still exists and provides critical information. So on July 24, this is also the same period where our social media posts about NOAA went viral. So these are the example of the social media Facebook posts and Twitter posts that were shared and engaged with during that time. So our Facebook post reached an impressive 6.1 thousand shares, while on Twitter there was 200,000 views of the video that we shared. So this level of engagement highlights the significant impact and reach of our social media efforts during typhoon periods. And following the surge in social media engagement and increased platform activity, we also enhanced our response by leveraging on crowdsourced data or information. Through social media like Facebook and Twitter or X, we collect crucial flood reports from the community. So this community-driven approach is also vital for verifying our flood models, as it provided on-the-ground insights that could help ensure the accuracy of our models and even the forecast. So crowdsourcing not only enriches the data available to us, but it could also foster a community or sense of responsibility and accountability among the Filipinos or even our users. And as social media-based crowdsourced reports come in from the community, we also simultaneously check and verify our flood models. So this validation process allows us to refine our forecast and our probabilistic hazard models based on the actual conditions reported by users, ensuring that our models remain accurate and responsive during evolving situation. And our collaboration recently with FIGHT, a community-based media, allows us to co-develop a platform called Lifesaver, which is a tool that could crowdsource flood reports from the community and could help us also provide information that could help us verify the flood models that we have in NOAA. So this Lifesaver was recently launched last week, actually. during an event at the University of the Philippines, and they introduced this platform so that users or even including students can start exploring the application and see how they can help in disseminating this kind of information to the public. And these challenges are very important to recognize and acknowledge, as we know that there are limitations in terms of science or forecasts or even the models. So, for example, during Typhoon Karina, our models, the rainfall forecast models underestimated the actual rainfall, leading to a situation where we did not where did it did not trigger flood alerts in our impact-based flood forecasting system, despite the significant flooding reported by various community members. So the complexity of weather conditions, particularly with the interaction of typhoons and the southwest monsoon in the Philippines, also add to the challenge of accurate forecasting. So this discrepancy underscores the inherent difficulties in predictive modeling and highlights the critical need for continuous validation and highlight the recalibration of our models. So it's important for us to conduct regular updates and have some improvements so that we could ensure that our models are accurate and reliable for future emergencies. And despite the challenges, we remain committed to advancing disaster resilience through transparency and open data. So we continue to provide a range of open data sets, including detailed hazard maps for flood, for landslide, and for storm surges across the Philippines, and some information on seismic data from 2021 up to the present, and even information on critical facilities from OpenStreetMap, such as schools, hospitals, police stations, and fire station. So these resources are made available to the public and researchers alike, supporting further analysis and informed decision-making in open and machine-readable format. So these hazard maps and the critical facilities are in shapefile format so that users can easily access the data and provide more analysis related to it. And then the seismic data is provided from the API and can be downloaded by in mini-seed format. So by sharing all of these data sets, we aim to enhance the community preparedness and enable better planning and response strategies among different stakeholders. And as part of our ongoing efforts to enhance accessibility, we are also transitioning into a progressive web application, or PWA. So this upgrade will make our website more versatile and user-friendly by allowing access across various devices, including smartphones, tablets, and desktops. So this format would ensure a seamless user experience and a more responsive interface, making it easier for users to access and utilize NOAA's resources. So in conclusion, open data and technologies and crowdsourced information are very critical, important component of disaster resilience. And by harnessing these resources, platforms like Project NOAA or the NOAA website can help save lives, resources, and mitigate resources. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, Faye, for this wonderful presentation. It's actually the tea break, but probably we could just have one quick question if there's any. Any question? All right, one quick question, Ms. Faye. So these hazard maps, how often do they get updated? For example, in Manila, like what's happening now?
Thanks, sir, for the question. So for our flood hazard models, it's actually updated regularly based on the incoming reports. For example, from the Filipinos sending us a detailed report about their experience on flooding. So as information comes in, we also validate and recalibrate our models based on those kinds of information.
All right, thank you, Ms. Fay. So we also laud NOAA's effort in providing open data sets. These are very important, especially for innovation. There's actually another group here, the Open Science Group, also led by Chai here. You could probably talk to him later, or he could talk to you later about these
Yeah,
data
sure.
sets. So thank you very much. It's now the tea break. So we can resume by 11 a.m. Pakistan time, or 1:30 p.m. Manila time. Hopefully, our speakers can stay a bit more. We could have interesting discussions later on. So thank you for now, and let's resume in a bit. 11 a.m. here. Thank you.